Right, I hope you're ready to go. Question 3. Well, this question might look hard, but we know that logs are powers. So we see that the power is -3 and the base is x. So let's write an equation with that. Now you're off to the right start. What does a negative power mean? How can we change that? Put it downstairs as a denominator. Now once we have that as a positive power, we can see that x to the 3 must equal 27. And 3 to the power 3 is 27, or take the cube root of 27. There, not so hard after all. So for question B, we want to make this the subject of the formula, so we get rid of the times pi, and then we'll get rid of the square root sign. We're doing change sign. To get rid of the square root, square is the opposite. Now because there are no pluses or minuses, we can just flip both sides upside down, or we could times by L and divide by S pi over all squared. It's easier just to flip them both upside down because there are no pluses or minuses in that equation. And remove the A to the other side. L is divided by A, so times to the left hand side. And that's for relational thinking. Whoops, it should be L. Or the other way you could have written it is like this, because both the pi and the S are squared values. That's relational thinking. You already got merit. Now the difficult part for question C is that square root sign. So if I square everything, the square root sign will cancel out with the squared. So I'm going to square everything. So there we have that. Then put the x to the other side. So when we divide by x to the half, we subtract the powers. And that gives you x to the 3 over 2. So there's my working y, it's 3 over 2. So this is how you solve the 3 over 2 root of 729 on your calculator. Plug that in, and you can see that's 81. That will get you achieved, but if you want merit, you have to realize that 0 is the other term. This little 2 here means you're taking the square root, and when you square root something, you can get a positive or a negative answer. Actually, that wasn't quite correct what I said. If we have x is 0, just go back into the equation. 0 equals, and this bit here, 0 to the power half is 0, so anything times 0 is also going to be 0. So both sides equal 0 when x is 0. And that's for relational thinking. Now here we're asked to solve an equation, and we note that x is a power, so when x is a power, we're going to use logs. So take the log of both sides. For the right hand side, bring the 3 out the front. When we're multiplying things, we add their powers. So that's why we can split the log there. We've added because when we're adding powers, we're multiplying. Now bring the x and the 2x out the front. Factorize the x so it is in one place. And after you factorize it, now go x equals, so we need to divide by log a plus 2 log b. If you manage to do that, you're going to get a T on your paper, which means you're thinking. That's excellence. For this part E, we want two values of k, and equal roots means we have to use the discriminant. That's that part of the quadratic formula. That's the whole quadratic formula, but we just want b squared minus 4ac to equal 0, then we know it has equal roots. Of course, if you didn't study that part and learn it, you wouldn't know how to do this question. Now here, a is 4, b is 5k plus 3, and c is 2k squared minus 1. Just put them in the equation. Now do some expanding out of the brackets. Use FOIL for the 5k plus 3, that's 5k plus 3 times 5k plus 3, and then simplify your like terms. Now go to your algebra part on your calculator, polynomial, 2 degrees, solve it, and find out what k is. Well, you're done, and you've got another relational thinking, another merit. If you can get underway for this question, it's very easy, but if you can't get underway, no hope. The difference of two squares have roots which are of the same value but different in sign. And there is no middle term, there's no zero term. So let's go back to the previous question. and we want this part here to be equal to 0. So solve that, and then divide by 5. Now you're really thinking? There's an excellence for you. But we need to really know about the roots and what the question means. So have a good think about the discriminant and how it affects the graph. Now this paper was seen as pretty hard, but it can be done by applying your maths knowledge that you know.